Have you ever stopped to think about the logistics company running inside you right now? I mean, it's an operation way more complex than any delivery service on the planet, and it runs 24/7, no holidays, no breaks. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this incredible network, your circulatory system.
Okay, so just try to wrap your head around this. Your body isn't one thing. It's a massive, bustling city of over 100 trillion individual cells. And every single one of them needs food, needs oxygen, and needs its trash taken out constantly. How in the world does your body pull that off?
Well, the solution is frankly a work of genius. It's a high-speed river flowing inside of us, this huge network of pathways we call the circulatory system. It is the ultimate delivery and sanitation service, making sure every last cell gets what it needs exactly when it needs it. To really get this system, we have to start with the river itself, the blood. So what is this stuff, really? What's actually flowing through our veins? Let's dive in and take a look at this river of life. You know, you probably picture blood as just red liquid, but it's so much more than that. It's a living tissue. A little over half of it is a yellowish fluid called plasma. That's the river part, carrying all the goods. The other 45%, that's made up of specialized cells and little cell bits, the formed elements. These are the workers doing all the real heavy lifting. And the sheer scale of this cellular workforce is just wow. In a single tiny drop of blood, we're talking 1 cubic millimeter, you have something like 5 million red blood cells. They just completely dwarf everything else. You can see the platelets, our little repair crew, are pretty numerous too. But our security force, the white blood cells, they're much rarer. And each one has a super important job. All right, let's meet the main worker, the red blood cell, or erythrocyte if you want to get fancy. Think of these guys as the oxygen couriers. Their unique kind of donut-like shape and their special cargo, hemoglobin, make them perfect for grabbing oxygen from the lungs and dropping it off all over the body. They work hard for about 120 days, and then they're retired and recycled. Next up, we've got our security force, the white blood cells, also called leukocytes. These are the protectors of our internal city. They're the core of our immune system, always on patrol, hunting down and destroying any invading bacteria or viruses to keep us healthy.
And finally, the emergency repair crew, platelets. Now, what's wild about these is they aren't even whole cells. They're tiny little fragments. But the second a blood vessel gets damaged, a leak in the plumbing, they swarm the scene. They release chemicals that start a chain reaction, forming a sticky plug, a clot, to seal the hole and stop us from losing too much of that precious blood.
Now, here's something interesting. Not all blood is created equal. The different blood types we hear about, A, B, and O, are all about specific little markers or antigens on the outside of our red blood cells. And here's the catch. Your body has antibodies that will attack any markers you don't have. That's exactly why blood has to be so carefully matched for transfusions. Get it wrong, and you trigger a really dangerous immune response. So we've got our river of life, the blood. But what makes it go? What makes it flow? Well, that brings us to the engine room, the central power station that drives this entire network, the heart. At its core, the heart is just an incredibly powerful and reliable muscle, a pump. It's tucked away safely between your lungs, and it's about the size of your own clenched fist. Seriously, make a fist. That's it. And inside, it's divided into 4 chambers that work together in perfect harmony. The heartbeat itself, the cardiac cycle, is this beautifully simple 4-step dance. First, everything relaxes and just fills up with blood. Second, the 2 top chambers, the atria, give a little squeeze to push that blood down into the ventricles. Third, the powerful bottom chambers, the ventricles, give a big squeeze, pumping blood out to the lungs and the body. And then, repeat. The whole thing happens in less than a second. And this is where the power of that pump just becomes mind-boggling. Every single minute of your life, your heart pumps about 5 liters of blood. That's pretty much your body's entire blood supply, getting a full tour of your body every 60 seconds. The efficiency is just absolutely incredible. And the heart is smart, too. It's not just pumping randomly. It's managing 2 separate circuits at the same time. On one side, you have the pulmonary circuit, which sends used deoxygenated blood on a quick trip to the lungs to refuel with oxygen. Then on the other side, you have the systemic circuit, which takes that fresh oxygen-rich blood and pumps it out on the long haul to every other nook and cranny of your body. Of course, a system this busy and this complicated
needs a way to maintain itself. But, things can still go wrong. So let's take a look at how the system patches itself up and what happens when there are breakdowns.
Luckily for us, the body has this amazing life-saving feature built right in: coagulation or clotting. When you get a cut, the blood itself knows how to turn from a liquid into a semi-solid gel. This isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a critical defense mechanism designed to prevent you from losing too much of this vital fluid.
But the system isn't perfect. Things can go wrong. High blood pressure, for example, puts a constant, dangerous strain on the whole network. If the heart's own fuel lines, the coronary arteries, get clogged up, that leads to coronary artery disease. That blockage can cause angina, that sharp chest pain, and if it gets bad enough, it can lead to heart failure, where the pump itself just can't keep up with what the body needs.
So let this sink in. Over an average lifetime, that little fist-sized muscle in your chest will beat more than 2.5 billion times nonstop, pumping that river of life. After learning about everything it does for you, day in and day out, the question becomes really personal, doesn't it? What will you do to protect it?